So the assembly elections in India's Jammu and Kashmir and the state of Haryana have thrown up a pretty contrasting mandate. Let's start with the Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, where the National Conference and the Congress alliance have won a clear majority. But what is interesting to note is that the Bharatiya Janata Party has made a pretty strong comeback in the state of Haryana, defeating not just the Congress and other parties, but also the exit pollsters. In both regions, 90 assembly constituencies were up for elections. In the valley, celebrations erupted amongst the supporters and workers of Jammu and Kashmir National Conference. So that was the seed of celebrations after the party led by the Abdullah secured a clear mandate in Jammu and Kashmir, winning 42 seats. The party, in lines with the Congress that won 6 seats, will potentially be forming the next government. Omar Abdullah is likely to become the chief minister.
हम शायद इतनी सीटों की उम्मीद नहीं कर रहे। हम वहाँ से जीते हैं जहाँ से हमें लग रहा था जीत की कोई गुंजाइश नहीं है। अब जाहिर सी बात है कि लोगों की उम्मीदें हैं, चाहे वो हमारे मैनिफेस्टो को लेके हो, चाहे हमारे जो हमारे वादे हैं लोगों के साथ जो हमने किए हैं उनको लेके हो। अब हमारा फ़र्ज़ बनता है कि हम इस मैंडेट को समझें और उसके बाद इस मैंडेट को हम उसको रिस्पेक्ट करें और उस मैंडेट को लेके हम लोगों के लिए काम करें।
I'm joined by the President of National Conference, Dr. Farooq Abdullah. Sir, a landslide victory, National Conference winning the majority seats. How do you feel about it?
I'm grateful to God and then grateful to the people who have given us this mandate with this hope that we'll be able to fulfill their wishes, bring them out the tragedies that have occurred in 10 years, give them freedom of press, freedom to walk freely without any coercion, and hope that we'll be able to get those people out of jail who, for telling the truth, have been put inside. It's a difficult task. We have to work because this state has suffered a lot.
Sir, has it been decided who the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir would be now?
I'm sure the Chief Minister will be from Jammu and Kashmir's National Conference. And I'm confident that Omar Abdullah will head the government.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Dr. Farooq Abdullah with video journalist Feroz Idris Loan for WION World is One.
Now this, of course, remember, is an election that gained significance because this was the first assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir in over 10 years. It's also the first assembly poll since the de-operationalization of Article 370 in 2019, which, of course, also changed the status of Jammu and Kashmir from a state to a union territory. The key poll issues in the election were Article 370, the restoration of full statehood, and unemployment. In the state of Haryana, the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party has defied all exit polls to secure a strong mandate. Out of the 90 seats, the Bharatiya Janata Party has won 48 seats, giving it not just a clear majority, but also the highest number of seats secured by the party in 10 years. Celebrations erupted not just in Haryana, but also at the Bharatiya Janata Party's office in Mumbai and the party's headquarters in New Delhi as well. And WION's special correspondent Idris Loan, who's been tracking the elections in Jammu and Kashmir, sent us this report. Listen.
After 10 long years, assembly elections were held in Jammu and Kashmir, and National Conference has swept the polls this time. To everybody's surprise, nobody was expecting that the National Conference would be in a position to form the government on its own. All the exit polls had predicted that there would be the National Conference and Congress would be in a safer position to form the government, but National Conference at 42, which means they just require a couple of more seats to form form the government in Jammu and Kashmir. Although the National Conference leaders making it very clear that the government would be made in coalition with the Congress leaders. However, Dr. Farooq Abdullah also making it very clear that Umar Abdullah is going to be the next Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. With video journalist Firoz, Idris Lone for WION World is One.
And also to give us more perspective as to how this election will be looked very carefully, we're being joined by Mr. Harish Batra, who's from Brands and Business Strategies, who's a Brands and Business Strategy Specialist and the founder of Harish Batra Consults. He's joining us live from Bengaluru. Mr. Batra, thank you very much indeed for taking time out and speaking to us here in WION. Let me in fact start off by asking you about this very crucial election that took place in Jammu and Kashmir. The elections were held after a span of 10 years. This was after the abrogation of Article 370. The Jammu Kashmiri people had a lot of things perhaps to say in terms of how they felt about all of these things. Do you think this election that has now gone off so smoothly and has also thrown up a pretty stable verdict has to a very large extent expressed the emotions of the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
Firstly, we have had a very peaceful election in Jammu and Kashmir. So hats off to the way in which the elections were carried out. And this compliment goes to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and equally our law enforcement agencies who have done a terrific job. Now, if you look at Jammu and Kashmir, I think, or any election, an election is a moment of time when people make their minds clear. They come out of the closet and possibly talk about anything that's important to them. So I think the people of Jammu and Kashmir have spoken. They've given a huge mandate to the National Conference Plus. And I think they have said that this is the type of governance I want. This is the type of government I want. And this is the kind of story that I'm looking forward as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. So I think, the fact that, there's a clear mandate is a very good thing for Jammu and Kashmir. And I think after 10 long years, in comes, an election, and the people seem to have decided quite decisively.
And just to stay a little bit more with Jammu and Kashmir, do you think this election now puts behind the bitterness which some people felt about the abrogation of Article 370? Is that conversation now going to end, at least politically, and more the focus will be on getting the statehood back for Jammu and Kashmir?
I think it will be that, because, I think the people are going to be satisfied and the people are going to say that we have had an election. That itself, right in the beginning, is a great thing. Because, a person's mind is like a pressure cooker. And I think, if the pressure is let off, the person feels more at peace. And I think the electorate of Jammu and Kashmir has possibly looked at this election as a letting off the steam. And to that extent, the mandate is made. They voted in a clear governance structure, a clear government, without any kind of a hiccup as to who's going to come in. And they seem to have been made up their mind. If you really look at the PDP and the National Conference, you will suddenly see that, the entire thing has moved. What PDP enjoyed in the last election in 2014, the National Conference enjoys today. Right. And I think with a bigger mandate than anything that comes by. So I think all is good that ends well.
All right. We also need to talk about the state of Haryana. And this has been a verdict that very few pollsters predicted. In your opinion, what do you think has actually happened here? Did the Bharatiya Janata Party snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, or did the Congress snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? What has happened here?
Okay. The government in Haryana, 10 long years of governance, and then a government comes back. That is the big story. It simply means to say two or three things. One, of course, the overall overarching point I want to make is the pollster has been drubbed in this election once again. Exit polls, I don't know why we trust them even today. They just don't work. Point number two I want to make is the fact that, this election had no wave. There was no clear wave towards the Bharatiya Janata Party. It couldn't have been that because it was, if at all, anti-incumbency. And there was certainly no clear wave towards the Congress. And the election seemed to have become bipolar in Haryana. And to that extent, I think when there's no wave in an election, when a particular party wins, it means it wins because of very clear and good election management. I think hats off to the BJP for managing the election so well at the micro level.
Right.
It also means one more thing. This election is an election where the RSS was back in the fray in the campaign with gusto. And the RSS plus the BJP is a powerful force because at the grassroots level, the RSS rules. And I think it's the comeback of that combo with gusto.
It's an interesting combination that you're talking about, the Bharatiya Janata Party and also the RSS. But leading up to the polls, over the course of the last 3-4 years, what we had been witnessing were farmers' protests. And Haryana was one of those states which was hugely impacted by this. We also saw the wrestlers protesting in a very vehement manner against what they said were policies that were just not something that the government should have stood by. Do you think those issues just do not play up in this election, or did the pollsters just not read the sentiment that was there on the ground, where people, for the last 10 years, they've had the Bharatiya Janata Party government and they were pretty happy with it?
Well, I would put it this way, that for the opposition, for the Congress, it is a missed opportunity. I don't think they did everything that was meant to be done to actually package the stories and take it back to the people. There was a wee bit of an overconfidence. This business, this old-minded attitude to say that, anti-incumbency is always there, it comes to my rescue, just doesn't happen. In fact, this election victory is Mr. Amit Shah's victory. And to that extent, this is what I would call Shah Niti, Amit Shah Niti, playing wonderfully and actually converting a loss into a win. And a no-wave election, an anti-incumbency election being converted into a win for the BJP, that is the big story. And that is the success of Amit Shah.
Absolutely indeed. And the BJP will say that this was a pro-incumbency verdict that the people have given. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Bijur, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.